I'm Lora.
And I'm Marcel. And this is 3 keys to making 2019 legendary. So, you always hear new year, new me, but nothing ever really changes, huh?
Nope. This time, we're going to help you make this year different. You know, Jim Rohn, he has a quote. He says, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall for someone else's. And what do they have planned for you? Not much.
So, step number 1 to making 2019 legendary is gaining clarity. You are going to design your life. In a land called perfect, if money was not an issue, what would you do?
Who would you be with?
Where would you go? What are the type of things that make you happy?
If you could do absolutely anything in the world, open your mind at this point. You know, really ask yourself, what do I prefer to be doing? Not your teacher, not your mentor, not your best friend, not your cousin, uncles, nephew. Think about your A team. What kind of people do you want to be around? What are their attributes? You are the sum of the 5 closest people you hang around in every area of your life. So you really want to be intentional with this circle of influence you have. And I strongly suggest you watching. If you know some people who have stinking thinking, they just negative, you need to cut them out of your life.
Cut it.
Cut it. Because really, they're not going to do you any good.
Right.
They're just going to hold you back. I'm not saying you have to be rude about it, but you know, maybe just don't hang out with them as much. I'm sure you're like, okay, well, dang, I can't really hang out with any of my friends then because they're all kind of negative. What am I supposed to do?
Well, we got the solution for that, right? Yes. You can hang out with us. No, seriously though, there are a lot of resources online you can use. YouTube for sure. Mm-hmm. Read books every day. Make sure you are feeding your brain, guarding your ear gates, your eye gates, making sure that you're not watching the news.
And there's a whole host of reasons why the news thing, we're not even going to fully get into that. That's a whole nother video.
Stay tuned.
But right, if you can't have physical friends, you definitely need to be able to find some other, you know, even if they're not a person, just influencers that you can learn from.
Even on Facebook, a group, somebody that's in your field that you can just get inspiration from every day and see that people are really doing what I want to do and get paid for it, right?
Exactly, which could be anything, literally.
Literally.
All right, so now we really need to think about your income clarity. How much money do you really want to make in 2019? I'm not talking about how much money you think you can make. How much money would you seriously, like if someone said you could pick whatever number you want, number would you choose?
Okay, like think about it.
Take in consideration, you want to be able to go on a vacation. If you don't schedule yourself a vacation for 2019, you are doing yourself a disservice because you need a break. Put in there money for not only just bills and personal expenses, but you need to think about everything that you might want to do. You have something big coming up. I know we have a wedding coming up next year. Get grandiose with this idea, you know.
Like your inner child. Like what would 10-year-old Marcel want to do?
How much would Marcel want to make?
Oh my goodness, man. Like
when
I'd want to print my own money. It's like unlimited abundance.
Yes.
I would want to get like the Donald Duck outfit and just like dive in the money. And I know if you're like under like 25, you might not get that reference, but okay. You need to go get a sheet of paper and write down those goals. How much do you want to make every week? How much do you want to make every month? As a matter of fact, we'll do a worksheet for you.
We got you covered, buddy. It's all right here. It's in the description box. Click the link, click the link, click the link. Click it. Now we're on to step number 2. So with this, we want to go ahead and discover your inner belief system. How do you do that? Well, you start by monitoring your thoughts.
Track whatever goes through your mind and choose. Do you prefer to think this type of way about you, about the life around you, about other people?
Think about it, you know, you might hear your voice in your head, or whatever that voice is, say something negative to you. And it might have even happened with that last exercise with the money stuff. You know, if you heard anything saying, oh, I can't make that kind of money, don't listen to it. Just because you heard it in your head does not mean it came from you. I'm going to repeat that. Just because you heard it in your head does not mean it came from you. Don't believe that crap, okay? You're better than that. You have to ask yourself, does this belief serve me? If it no longer serves me, I'm not taking it with me in 2019.
As you're going throughout your day, you just have to remember that you're basically on autopilot, right? You've done the same thing 95% of the time that you did yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. Even down to how you do your daily routines, how you brush your teeth, how you wash your face, what stall of the bathroom you go to at work. These are all things that
Our
habit that you don't know about. And once you become aware of these, you can start to become aware of other beliefs that you may have about yourself, about other people, about the world, about money. And you can start to let go of these things that are not serving you.
Also, think about beliefs that you may have picked up along the way growing up. You know, stuff from your parents, money beliefs, personal beliefs. You know, someone may have said that you can't be a singer, you can't be a dancer.
That's not a real job.
That's not a real job.
Who's heard that one? Raise your hands.
Think about, did you come up with your beliefs or did someone come up with them for you? I know I've had a lot of beliefs that I realized came from my parents. Where did they get their ideas from? Right. Where did they get these beliefs from? Right. Probably their parents.
And where did they get their beliefs from? Probably their parents.
That's something that I feel like, especially in our community, is affecting a lot of people. There's a lot of lack mentality that has been passed down from generation to generation, thinking that you can't amount to certain heights because of either your gender, race, or where you're from. We're almost at 2020. And people still have beliefs they had back in the 50s. This has to change. And we have to be the ones to change it. It starts with us individually.
Nobody's going to do it for us.
No, nobody. Now, you just ask yourself, what do you prefer? Do I prefer to think this way? Even if it just came in your head and you're like, you know what? I'm not sure what I'm doing. Even if it's just something as simple as that. You know, this seems kind of hard. Do I prefer to think that way? Do I prefer to see it as difficult? Or is it just the first thing that popped into my head? If it's just the first thing that popped into your head, you owe it to yourself, really.
Right, to examine that closely.
To examine it and then to ask myself,
do I prefer that?
Do I prefer to think this way? If I don't prefer to see this as hard, if I don't want this to be hard, I'm going to say, you know what? I reject that reality and I'm going to replace it with my own. I'm going to replace it with something that I want.
For another example, say we talk to people all the time that say, hey, making $15 an hour is hard. If you think that making $15 an hour is hard, it will be very hard.
Whatever you believe happens. Okay, so now the big part is changing these limiting beliefs into something better.
Right? So, since you set it up, how do you do that, Laura?
Affirmation.
Every day, every morning, within the first 20 minutes that you wake up, you need to be affirming to yourself that, first of all, thank you. Thank you for waking up. Gratitude. And then today is going to be a good day. Yes. And then whatever affirmation that you would like to work on for yourself. Personally, I like to do one affirmation. I know Laura likes to.
I'll do a couple.
For example, if you believe that you couldn't go in front of a crowd of people and speak, or you had an anxiety, you could do an affirmation such as, I am now highly pleasing to myself in the presence of other people. That feeds into your subconscious using the word now. Present tense negates time. Your subconscious does not know time. It does not know age. It will believe whatever you feed it.
It will believe now is now if you tell it is now.
Right? So you write that guy down 30 days straight, 20 times a day.
And then if you get to the point where you can start repeating it and you know it before you're even writing it, then you can, of course, you can
move
go
on
down
to another one,
move on to another one or do less than 20. You know, I'm down to the point where I only write my affirmation about 6 times a day. And if you need help with crafting these affirmations, let us know. We'll help you out.
Moving on to step number 3 to making 2019 legendary. So what you have to do is you need to plan and then you need to execute.
I know it's technically 2, but really it's 1, because why the heck are you executing if you didn't plan? Failing to plan is planning to fail. So go ahead and make your plan, then execute it, do it as 1 step. You'll thank us later.
She's right.
Continue.
More often than not.
So now it's time to go ahead and plan and make it happen. We're going to be using the S.M.A.R.T goal framework. S.M.A.R.T goal means it's going to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Specific because you need to know exactly what the goal is. You need to see what it looks like. That's kind of why we were having you go through that framework with the worksheet in the description box.
Click it.
You need to make sure it's measurable, because how else are you going to have a time frame? You know, you need to be able to work it out. If you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. It needs to be achievable, because A, we're not going to set you up to fail, and you shouldn't set yourself to fail either.
More specifically on the point of being achievable is your affirmations. You need to make sure that you're writing affirmations that feel good to you. You don't want to go out there and say, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire, and it doesn't feel good to you, and your mind is like, and for achievable, you want to make sure that your affirmations are stretching you, but are not too far out there to be where your mind is revolting against the idea. It's stretching you, but not stressing you, right? So
yeah. If you guys want to use that, stretch yourself, don't stress yourself.
Tweet it properly.
Hashtag
legendary focus.
If it's not relevant to you, why the heck are you doing it? You're wasting your time. Once again, make sure it's a goal you actually want to do, not your mama, not your sister, not your husband, something you want to do, relevant to you. And lastly, timely, because you need to give it a deadline. If you do not have a deadline for your goal, you will never hit it, or it will just happen randomly and you will have no control over it. And this is about actually planning to take control back of your life. All right, so now just little bonus nuggets for you. Something you want to do is to think about possible obstacles that you might have. Asking yourself what could possibly go wrong will make your mind think about solutions.
Yes, it will.
So thinking, hey, if I go outside and it might be raining, let me check the weather. 50% chance, let me grab a coat. You just saved yourself. When you're looking at people who have the life that you want, that have the dream career that you want, ask them for help. Ask them to mentor you. A lot of the times they will. And then they'll give you the steps it takes in order to reach their goal, their end goal, where you want to be.
If you learned something in this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell to know the moment that our next video comes out.
Also, help us spread the word by sharing this with your friends, family members, basically anyone you want to grow with. And have a topic idea, comment it, and we will probably make it into a video.
That's it. Next Monday, we'll be covering more in-depth clarity.
Until we meet again, focus on making every day legendary. You're worth it.
Peace.